Analysts are expecting, or should I say are not expecting, that South Africa's economy grew by 1% or 1.5% in the fourth quarter of 2021. The latest GDP data from Statistics South Africa is expected this morning following a contraction in the third quarter of last year. Business reporter Tumisang Ndlovu speaking to economists ahead of the release of those numbers, and she joins us now live. Tumisang, good morning to you. Tell us about what analysts are saying when it comes to growth versus the reality in an economy that's already battling high unemployment, inequality and poverty.
Absolutely, Xoli, and that is one of the biggest questions when it comes to the calls for structural economic reform in South Africa come in, because the lived experience of the ordinary South African sometimes does not match the expectations as well as the pace of economic growth in South Africa. At times, the normal South African does not even feel an inch of that economic progress or that stagnation. But to get more on this issue, we are joined by Chief Economist at Antiswa Consulting, that is Mielani Mkabela. Mielani, thank you so much for your time and talking about the lived experience of an ordinary South African. We are facing high unemployment. We saw the GDP contract in the third quarter. What are we expecting this time around in relation to where that puts the ordinary South African in this country?
We expect a GDP contribution from critical economic sectors to be improving, and then we have been seeing how things have been happening during the pandemic. But when you look on the third quarter and the fourth quarter, things have really changed like a bit, and then we are looking at 2022 to have almost around 2.4 plus GDP growth for South Africa. I know that it's not really even close to the 5% growth or GDP growth that is expected for South Africa to be creating jobs, but we are aware that in terms of the market and how things are showing in our economy or recovering in our economies, we will look at 2.4 plus GDP that we will record for 2022, and critical sectors that I believe it will need to be given attention to its agriculture, because it's a big sector and then it has capacity to employ more people with its agro-processing. And then you have manufacturing that has a potential as well. And then if you look at giving an example with the clothing industry, we have about 8.4 billion garments that are developed all over the world, and that is about 400% more in the past 40 years. And then it's an economy that is carrying around 1.3 trillion US dollars. So, but South Africa is not really having a significant pie around that, and we have the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement that I believe if we can take a big pie in the clothing industry or in the clothing and fashion, that in the short term of the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement, we can be making something. And then when you will look at other areas of probably producing renewable energy components, because if we are phasing out coal, there must be an industry that we are replacing coal with, so that we are able to generate jobs for South Africans. So the challenge of South Africa and the president is very huge, and we are, in terms of my understanding and our benchmarking or advanced analytics at Antiswa, we believe that South Africa is such an economy that can experience a Buffalo miracle growth after this crisis, looking at the experiences of Germany and Austria, and then looking as well with the experiences of Japan and other countries of the world, including South Korea, with regard to growth miracles that they have experienced in the past.
There you have it, Xoli, the expectations of growth in South Africa. Those calls for structural economic activity and economic policy should meet what is meant to be reflected in the numbers of jobs that are created. And economic growth is exactly what is meant to be a result of job creation in this country. We'll wait for that GDP print come 11:30 this morning, but we'll continue to give you rolling coverage of what analysts are expecting ahead of that.
Business reporter Tumisang Ndlovu, thank you very much for that update.